I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and start. So today we will need 2 blocks, a blanket, and just depending upon how long your arms are, you might want a strap. But if your arms are long enough to touch your feet, you will not need that. We'll start by lying on our back. And actually, before you get there, let's go ahead and bring both of our blocks to the upper outer corners of our space. Bring one of our blankets or our blanket off to the side, and then you'll lie down on your back with your head between your blocks. So actually, let me have you all invert this. So put your blocks closer to your screen on the other end and then turn around. There we go. Just because when we turn around, you won't want to have to move everything again. Fantastic. That looked fun, Barbara. Hi, Julie. So Julie, we are starting on our backs. Your head is towards your camera. The blocks are towards the upper outer corners of your space. There we go. So we are working today on somatic strength. I took another class with Mary Richards. She's a yoga therapist and does a lot of somatic strength stuff. So we're going to work today on doing things that are going to help stabilize our spine. And hopefully it'll help with some of the balance poses that we get to a little bit later. The first thing I'd like you to do as you're here is just notice what it feels like to really feel all the curves of your spine. So we should have a little bit of a cervical curve, so space between the floor and the back of your neck. You might feel more weight of your thoracic spine into the floor. And then we're looking for a little bit of space between your low back and the floor, and then the weight of your sacrum into the mat. And then once you feel like you found that, just see if you can relax any muscles around your mouth, around your eyes. See if there's any holding around the shoulders or the abdomen, the toes. And we'll just take 3 to 5 breaths here, allowing ourselves to sort of take a mental imprint of where we're starting. And again, every breath in just allows space to enter into the physical form. Every breath out allows a little bit of a deepening, a release into the floor. Awesome. At the end of your next exhalation, let's go ahead and bend our knees and plant our feet firmly on the floor. Now, those of you that are on your sticky mat, this might be a little challenging, so just notice that. Separate your feet hip distance apart. You're going to press a little bit more weight into your right foot, and then you inhale and slide your left leg long on the floor beneath you. And then exhale, draw the leg back up, bending the knee, planting the foot. And then pressing weight into your left foot, inhale, slide the right leg forward. And then exhale, slide the leg back. And you'll do about 5 of those on each side, following your own breath. And as best as you can you really keep contact with your foot into the floor the whole time? And as you're sliding it down, you feel the heel press against the floor. And as you slide it back, you feel the heel press against the floor. As you're moving one leg, you're really rooting into the opposite leg to stabilize, noticing what's happening in your pelvis as you do this. Yeah. And then again, you're just breathing. Do you notice if there's any holding around your neck or your shoulders? Yeah. Oh, I love that, Roberta. That was 5. Thank you, Roberta. So after this next set, you'll go ahead and pause with both knees bent, both feet firmly planted on the floor. And then bring your awareness back to your low back. Can you find a little bit of space between your low back and the floor? And then you're going to exaggerate that. So inhale, feel like you're rocking your tailbone down to press into the mat. And then exhale, press your low back into the floor, curl your tailbone up towards your knees, keep your butt heavy on the floor. And you'll do 5 of those. So inhaling, rocking the pelvis forward, arching the low back, and then exhaling, drawing the navel to the spine to the floor, the tailbone towards the knees. And then 3 more on your own, just inhaling, rocking forward, anterior pelvic tilt, and then exhaling, curling back, posterior pelvic tilt. 2 more. Inhale, rocking the pelvis forward, and exhaling, drawing it back. Last one. Inhale, coming forward, and exhaling, pulling back. Great. Go ahead and inhale to a neutral spine. Keep your feet as they are, and then inhale, open your knees as wide as they can go, keeping the soles of the feet on the floor. And then exhale, draw the knees back to that midline, and you'll do about 5 of these. And so this is just to draw both innominate bones, so the 2 halves of the pelvis, back into symmetry, back into relationship with one another. And you're moving with your breath. So inhale to open, exhale to close the legs. Seeing if both legs can work simultaneously. This is the last one. Nice. Awesome. The next time your knees are up to center, go ahead and pause. Open your arms out into a T shape. Widen your feet a little wider than their hips. Okay. Now, this is going to sound weird, but you're going to inhale, push down into your right foot. Let your left knee fall to the left, and then your right knee fall to the left. But it's coming from the push of the right foot. And you'll just take a pause and a breathe there. And then when you're ready to come back, your right hip will go to the right and come to the floor. Draw your right knee up, draw your left knee up, and then you'll do the same thing on the other side. So push into the left foot, down and forward. The right leg goes to the right, then the left leg goes to the right. And you just pause and you breathe. And then when you're ready to come back up, the left hip reaches to the left and roots down to draw the left thigh up, left knee up, and then the right knee comes back up. And you'll do that 3 more times on your own. So you're really pushing down into the right foot. That allows the left leg to fall. And then the right knee kind of goes forward and to the left. And you feel what's happening along the hips and in the pelvis as you're moving the thigh bone this way. And then when you're ready, the hip goes to the right. And then the knee comes back up, and then the left knee comes back up. And then again, push down into your left foot. Allow the right leg to come to the right. Yep, and take a couple of breaths. And then when you're ready, come back up. And then last set, really push down into the right foot to allow the legs to fall towards the left. Poor Laura. And then come back up through center, and last time going over towards your right, pushing down into the left foot. Yeah, nice works. And then go ahead and inhale, come back up to center. Once you're back to center, plant your feet hip distance apart once again and take those pelvic nutations for the last time. And just feel how that feels, rocking forward and back along the spine. Awesome. Go ahead and come to stillness. You're good, Laura. Then extend your right arm alongside your ears, roll over onto your right side, and continue to come up to hands and knees. When you find yourselves at hands and knees, stack your hands directly underneath your shoulders, knees directly underneath your hips, and just take a moment to allow your head to drop to the floor, your belly to drop to the floor, and then your hip bones to lift. So we're going to find ourselves in static back. And you'll just pause here and breathe here for about 5 to 10 slow, deep breaths. Keep your arms as straight as they can be. Yep. Let your belly drop, let your head drop, and you'll start to feel stuff probably build in maybe the backs of the forearms, up the back of the arm bone. You might feel this actually in the shoulders as well. And just really let the head drop, really let the belly drop, really let the sit bones widen. Awesome. Now, on your next exhale, I want you to scoop all of your organs into your spine and then start to round your spine into a Halloween cat pose. So scoop all the organs from underneath, rounding into the back. Press wide into your pinky fingers and take a deep breath in here. And then exhale, round a little bit more. Next inhalation, lower the belly, lift the head, lift the tail, come into your cow pose. And just take about 2 breath cycles here, isometrically pulling the hands back, broadening across the collarbones. Next exhale, scoop the belly, round through the spine. And now you'll take 4 cats and cows on your own, seeing if you can undulate the spine through the arms. Noticing that when you come into your cow shape, you can pull the hands back to pull the heart forward a little bit more. And then when you go into your cat shape, you can really scoop all the organs into the spine to round through the vertebra a little bit more. Nice work, guys. Well, gals, actually. And you've got 2 more on your own, just following the breath. Nice. Okay. The next time you inhale, let's go ahead and come to a neutral spine. From where you are, lower your elbows down onto the mat, forearms down onto the mat. And then you need to make sure that your elbows are shoulder distance apart. Shift your weight forward so your shoulders are directly over your elbows, and then start to inchworm your knees back. Now, once you're here, curl all 10 toes under. Press your pinky toes wide, and then again, scoop all your organs away from the floor. Some of you will stay right here happy as a clam. Some of you will reach back through your heels so much that your knees lift off of the floor. Keep scooping all of your organs away from the floor. Now, whatever your dominant arm is, take that elbow forward 2 inches. Push down into the floor, press wide through your pinky toes, and scoop your organs away from the floor. And you've got about 5 breath cycles here. I'm not counting this, it's your 5 breaths. So a breath in, a breath out 5 times. And after you've done 5, you step your dominant elbow back, you lower your knees to the mat, and then you come up to hands and knees. You guys have good breath cycles there. Fantastic. And then once you find yourself back on your hands and knees, you've got 2 cats and cows, and you just notice what that feels like. Breathing in and breathing out and breathing in, and say, hello, Mary Richardson. She loves this pose. Well, what you previously did. And then let's go ahead and come back to a neutral spine. This time you're going to walk your hands forward just a little bit, because most of you walked your hands back. Lower your forearms back down to the mat. Now, if you need to, you'll crawl your knees back. Yep. Shift your weight forward so your shoulders are over your elbows. Yep. Curl all 10 toes under. Now press wide through your pinky toes, and you might stay here and just energetically reach back through your heels, or you might lift your legs, knees up and away from the floor. Now scoop all your low belly away from the floor in this plank position, and now take your non-dominant hand forward a couple inches, and then you've got about 5 to 10 breaths here. Lift your head up so it's not careening to the floor. Scoop your organs away from the floor. There you go. And then reach back through your pinky toes even more. Pinky toe side of the foot. And after you've taken your 5 breaths, you then walk the non-dominant elbow back. You lower your knees down, and you come back up to hands and knees. Nice job, ladies. And then again, 2 cats and cows. And you just notice what that feels like. Do we find like heat and stuff building in our tummies, or is that just me? Okay, great. Awesome. And then let's go ahead and come to neutral. Come to stillness. Of course, we have to do that a third time. So Mary encourages us to do it a third time, but on our dominant side again. So we're going to lower our elbows down, back down to the mat. And if you need to, you crawl your knees back, shift your shoulders over your elbows, curl all 10 toes under, reach back through your heels, press wide into your pinky toes, then maybe you straighten your legs off of the floor or straighten your knees to lift them off the floor. Now scoop all of your organs away from the floor and then slide your non-dominant, or rather your dominant elbow forward. And again, you just take 5 breath cycles. Big breath in, big breath out. And you just breathe. A little shaking is okay. Big, big breaths. Head is in alignment with spine. After your 5th breath, you slide your dominant elbow back. You lower your knees down and you return to hands and knees. Yep, and then you just take 3 cats and cows and you just notice what that feels like. So if you're still in your planky doos, by all means, you hang out there. Awesome. And then on your next in-breath, let's go ahead and come to a neutral spine. Walk your knees, ankles, and shins together. Curl all 10 toes under. And then start to walk your hands back to your knees and sit up for toe squat. And then make sure your pinky toe is still underneath. And we're just going to do about 3 shoulder circles one way. So you circle your shoulders forward, up, back, and down. And you just do 3 circles one way, and then after you've done 3, you'll reverse that. So then they'd go back, up, forward, and down. And then you do 3 the other direction. And after you've done 3 both ways, hands will come behind low back, interlace fingers at the webbing, draw shoulders up to ears, shoulder blades down the back, and then you'll reach your one hand either down towards the floor or slightly up behind you, and you just pause and you breathe. Nice. And very gently, we'll release that. Come forward onto hands and knees, pitter patter the tops of your toes if you'd like, having a little temper tantrum. And then if you would prefer, you can shift back and take a counter stretch, lifting one end or both knees up and away from the floor. Great. From here, let's go ahead and put our blanket in the middle of our space momentarily. Awesome. And then once you have your blanket set in the middle of your space, you'll bring your knees on your blanket, your hands forward. Curl both sets of toes under. Inhale into your cow shape. As you exhale, push the hands down and forward, hips up and back. Make your way to a downward facing dog with your knees bent. And just with your knees bent, see if you can lift and scoop your organs away from the floor, especially in your armpit area. Yep. And then reach your outer hips up as you reach your heels down and push your shoulders down, your hands down. Nice. Fantastic. On your next in-breath, go ahead and lower your knees back down to the mat. Fantastic. From here, let's bring our hands onto our blocks. This should create enough space for you to step your right foot forward outside of your right block. So both hands are on the inside edge of the right foot. Great. Julie, can you walk your blocks closer towards each other so your right foot is closer to your midline? There we go. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and bend our back knee. Now, this is the point where some of you may choose to stay here. If you have a strap because you know your foot is way too far away from you, you could grab your strap. Otherwise, your left hand is going to reach back to grab your left foot. From here, see if you can slide your butt back to grab your left heel or draw your left heel a little closer. And then you can draw the whole left thigh a little closer to the floor. From there, you might draw the left shoulder up, the left shoulder blade onto your back body. And you might notice that that suddenly starts to make the right hand a little bit lighter. And maybe you can bring the right hand or forearm onto the top of the right thigh as you continue to draw your left heel towards your left bum. Yeah, nice work. All right. And then we're going to slowly come out of this. So if you lifted the right arm, slowly descend. Gently release the left foot, drawing the left foot to the floor. And then hands on blocks, step your right foot back. Now you might need to slide your blocks a little bit to the right. And then step your left foot outside of your left block. Laura, walk your blocks a little bit to the right so your left foot comes more into your midline. There we go. And then from here, we'll go ahead and bend our back knee. So that's our right knee. With your right hand, grab your right foot or use your strap if needed. Then draw your butt back a little bit so you can draw your heel and your glute closer to each other. And then maybe you can allow the thigh to descend a little closer to the floor. You might notice the more you press into your left foot, maybe your left hand can come up to the thigh. Yep, and you just pause and you breathe and you pause and you breathe. And if you did come up, start to lower down. So left hand comes back down to the block. Gently release the right foot, hands come to both blocks, and then step your left foot back. Walk your blocks off the outer edges of your mat. You can remove your blanket now if you'd like. And then you'll curl your toes under and make your way back to downward facing dog. Now, when you're in down dog this time, just notice if you notice anything different. How does your down dog feel? How does your back feel? How do the hands feel? How is the breath working? Okay. Listen very closely. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, round your spine and draw your right knee to your nose. Right knee to your nose. Fantastic. Step your right foot between your hands. Awesome. Now pause here. You might bring your hands to the blocks. You might not, but you'll just stay here for a few breaths, finding this nice, long, low lunge and just pausing and breathing. Awesome sauce. Take a breath in here. Next exhale, step your right foot back. Okay. In down dog, just take a moment to breathe and just notice how you feel. And then similar, you'll start to round your head in, draw your left knee to your nose to your left knee, and then step your left foot between your hands, low lunge. Nice. And again, maybe hands come to blocks, maybe they don't. Fantastic. And just take a moment to pause in your low lunge, breathing, pressing down into your left foot, reaching back for your right. Now here's our slight variation. Take a big breath in here. As you exhale, this time you're going to bend your back knee and step to the top of your space. So now when you find yourself in your forward fold, just take a moment to notice what it feels like. Do your hands want to touch the blocks? Do your hands touch the floor? Doesn't matter either way, but just notice what you notice. How's the weight in your feet? How's the weight in the backs of your legs? How's the weight in your head? Fantastic. Let's move on. Inhale, slide your hands up your shins, halfway lift. Pause here, shift your weight forward so that you feel the weight evenly distributed across the ball of your foot, across the heels. Draw your hands to your hips. Draw your chin to your chest just slightly and then reach out through the crown of your head. And on your next in-breath, come all the way up to stand. If you feel dizzy for any reason, draw your chin to your chest and then lift your sternum up just a smidge. Okay. Now, this is the balancing one that I mentioned a little bit earlier, Laura. We are going to stand between our blocks you want to make sure that there is enough space for your blocks to be on the lowest setting and for both of your feet to be able to balance or rest in between. Depending upon how your balance is today, you might want to have a wall in front of you or not. We're going to all start with our left leg. You're going to step your left foot onto your left block, and then you're going to stand straight up so the right foot comes off of it. Now you're going to reach the right foot back down to the floor to touch it. And then you're going to push down into the left foot to lift up. And we've got about 10 of these. And what I want you to pay attention to is what it feels like to have the weight come into the leg that's on the block, the foot that's on the block. So in this instance, your left foot. And then notice what it feels like as the weight leaves the left foot and goes into the right foot. And so what right now we're doing is we're trying to strengthen our quadratus lumborum, the QL muscle. We're also strengthening our glute med. We're also improving our proprioception and balance. And ideally, we're going more side to side. So our feet, I'm not stepping forward onto the block, I'm stepping sideways, if that makes sense. Great. I wasn't counting, so we'll say this is our last one. When you're standing now on the block on the left side, you're going to start to draw your belly in and start to draw your right knee up towards your face. Hands come to the front of your right shin. Really push down into your left foot. Curl your right toes up. Pause and breathe. Nice work. And then when you're ready, we're going to gently release the right foot down. Draw it a little bit more towards the right block. Step the left foot off. And just notice what it feels like to have both feet on the floor. Fantastic. Okay, and then we'll try that on the other side. So now your right foot comes onto your block. Make sure your toes are really on that block, and then start to transfer the weight to lift up and then come down. And we're moving slowly because it's helping us build our awareness of where our body is in space. We don't spend a lot of time paying attention to how we transfer our weight. And as we get older, it becomes particularly important to make sure that we can balance. And then, I don't know about you, but I've been doing a lot of sitting lately. So this is supposed to help strengthen the low back muscles that we often can neglect. And so they can start to atrophy. All right, we'll do 2 more because I'm sorry, but I wasn't counting. Da-da-da. All right, this next time you press down into your right foot, we'll stay there. You're going to start to scoop your belly and then let your left knee float up. Hands will come to the front of your left shin. Really root down into your right foot. Lift up through your crown. Feels like your butt sticks back just a little bit, finding that slight anterior pelvic tilt. And then when you're ready, you'll gently release the left shin. The left foot will come back down, slide a little bit more towards the left block, and release the right foot next to it. Cool. Let's move on. From here, inhale, circle, sweep your arms up and overhead. Nope, keep your blocks as they are. And then exhale, hinge at the hips, forward fold. Now, when you're down in this forward fold, inhale, halfway lift, fingers press into your blocks, crown reaches forward. As you exhale, bend your knees, step your right foot long and back. Now from here, you're going to push into your left foot. You're going to push down into the ball of your right foot and reach wide into your right pinky toes. Then you'll start bringing your hands to the front of your left thigh. Then you'll start to bring your spine a little bit more vertical. From here, you might release your hands down alongside your hips. Draw your outer right hip forward as you reach back through your right heel, and then maybe inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead for high crescent lunge. And you'll just take a moment to pause here, and you'll take a moment to breathe. You'll see if you can root down through the feet, lift up through the spine, maybe up through the chest and up through the fingertips. Fantastic. Take another big breath cycle. And then when you're ready, you'll inhale and open to Virabhadrasana 2. So you'll spin your right foot to the floor, you'll fan out through both arms, and you'll allow yourself to settle in your Warrior 2. Great. Now, from your Warrior 2, just take a moment to pause here. So you're steady, you're happy there, you're good. Flip your front palm. Inhale, reach your left arm up and back, and allow your right fingertips to touch the top of your right thigh or shin, wherever they touch, and find Viparita Virabhadrasana, so reverse warrior. Continue to bend into your front knee, press onto the pinky toe edge of your back foot. Nice work. Inhale, return to Warrior 2. And then as you exhale, reach forward through your left hand, lower your left forearm to the top of your left thigh, and reach your right arm alongside your ears for extended side angle. And you've just got about 3 breath cycles here. And again, you're finding the length in the underside. So that's our left side. You're reaching out through your right hand, right pinky foot, pinky toe. Nice work. Inhale, reverse to Warrior 2 or return to Warrior 2. As you exhale, straighten your front leg long. Lift your front heel 1 millimeter, so it's super slight. Then lower the foot back down. Inhale, reach forward through your left hand and lower the left fingers to the block or the floor underneath your left shoulder as you extend your right arm up towards the sky. Now, draw the shoulder blades onto your back. Imagine your heart is leaning into your shoulder blades. Extend out through your spine so your tailbone reaches back, your crown reaches forward. And then your left ribs pull under, your right ribs pull on top, and you just breathe. Nice work. On your next in-breath, turn your gaze to the floor. Come to a low lunge facing the top of your space. Awesome sauce. From here, step your front foot back. So step your left foot back, plank pose, and we'll just take 3 breath cycles here. So we spent some time in forearm plank, and now we're in regular plank, and you just pause and you breathe. And then at the end of your next exhale, bend your knees, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Fantastic. Nice deep breaths, and just notice what you notice. How's the breath? How's the body? How are you? Okay. Inhale here. As you exhale, right knee to nose. Step your right foot between your hands. Nice. And then maybe you bring your hands to blocks if they're not there, maybe not. But we're going to push down into our front foot. That's our right foot. We're going to reach back through our back foot. That's our left foot. And then we'll start to walk our hands onto the front thigh. Yep. And then we'll start to bring our spine a little bit more vertical and maybe release our hands alongside our hips. The outer left hip draws forward. We're on the ball of the back foot. And then inhale, you might reach your arms out and up and overhead. And as you're here, you're really rooting through the feet. You're finding that rotation through the pelvis. You're lifting up through the spine. You're finding broadness, openness through the chest, and elongation through the fingertips. And then you're breathing. And then take another deep breath cycle here. And when you need to inhale again, you'll open to Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. So you'll spin your back foot down. You'll open out. So right foot, right knee is bent. Left foot's pressing down. You're reaching out through both arms. Fantastic. Go ahead and flip your front palm, your right fingers, and then inhale, start to carve the hands up and back to find reverse warrior. Left hand lightly touches left thigh or left shin, and you just breathe into your right side body. Inhale, return to Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. And then as you're ready, reach forward through the right hand, maybe lower the forearm to the top of the right thigh as you extend your left arm alongside your ears, and you take 3 breath cycles here. And again, you just notice, how can you root into that back foot? How can you root into the front foot? How can you find length on the right side so the ribs come forward and under and the left ribs go up and back? Nice work. Next inhale, return to warrior two. As you exhale, go ahead and straighten your front leg long. Now lift your front heel just a millimeter away from the floor and then lower it back down. And then inhale, reach forward and out through the right hand, lowering the right hand to fingers or blocks underneath your right shoulder. Your left hand comes up. Now press into your right big toe mound. Press onto the knife edge of your back foot. Find that length through your spine as you hug your shoulder blades onto your back. Your heart is cradled into your shoulder blades. Your head extends out, and maybe your gaze comes up. Nice work. All right. On your next in-breath, gaze comes to the floor. Pivot to the ball of the back foot and come to a low lunge. This time you're going to step forward. So step to the top of your mat, big giant step. Fantastic. And then once you find yourself here, your blocks are still outside of your feet. Maybe your hands are on your blocks, maybe they're not. Great. Slide your hands onto the outer edges of your shin bones. Your fingertips point down, the palms press in. Now inhale, halfway lift. Awesome. Exhale, fold in. This time you're going to inhale, bend your knees, push your knees out into your hands into your knees, sit your butt pretty low. Push your knees out, hug your knees in, or rather, I don't know, push your hands into your knees into your hands. So you'll sit low and then you'll reach your arms forward. And then maybe you'll reach your arms up and overhead for Utkatasana. So imagining your hands are still on your outer shin bones. You push your knees out, and yet they don't go out so much because you're still finding that alignment, that engagement. Next in-breath, push down through your feet, reach up through your arms. Maybe you look up as you reach up. And then exhale, open the arms out and lower them down. Take a moment to soften the gaze or close the eyes and just breathe for a moment. Okay. If the gaze is closed, gently open the eyes up. Reach your arms forward like happy little zombies. Cross your right arm under your left arm on top. And then double wrap the arms. Maybe the backs of the arms touch, maybe the palms touch. Now, because your right arm is under, you're going to push your elbows forward a little bit, draw them down a millimeter, and then look over your left shoulder as you drag your elbows to the right. So elbows go to the right, you look to the left, you keep drawing your low belly in. Nice. And then inhale, come back to center. And then exhale, unwind. If you need to shake that out, shake that out. And then we'll try that the other side. So inhale, zombie arms forward. This time left arm comes underneath. Maybe you double wrap, back of hands together or fronts of palms together. And then you'll press your elbows forward, draw them down a millimeter, and then pull your elbows to the left as you look to the right. And you just pause and you breathe. You pause and you breathe. Elbows are shoulder height. Nice work. Inhale, come back through center. Unwind the arms, shake that out. All right, cool. So we're going to add some things on together. So we'll go ahead and bring our hands to our hips. Shift the weight into your right leg, float your left leg up. Now cross your left leg over to the right block and then start to bend your right knee a lot. Press your outer knees in towards each other. And some of you might stay here. Some of you might lift the left foot and bring the top of the left foot onto the back of the right ankle. You might stay there. You might reach your arms forward and then zombie arms and then reach the right arm underneath, the left arm on top. Maybe you double wrap the arms for Garudasana and you breathe for 3. You push the elbows forward for 2. You bend the bottom knee, the right knee for 1. When you're ready to come out, the left foot will go to the right block. The arms will unwind. You'll step the left foot next to the right. And then if you need to wiggle that out, because that was a lot of constriction, by all means, you do that. And then we'll try that all on the other side. So hands come to our hips. Pour the weight into your left leg. Float your right leg up. Cross the right leg over to the left block. Put the foot down. Now bend your left knee. Hug your outer knees towards each other, really squeezing in. Maybe you lift the right foot and tuck it to the back of your left calf. Awesome. Maybe you stay here or reach your arms forward. And then if you'd like, you wrap your left arm underneath the right arm on top and you sit for Garudasana and you just pause and you breathe. You pause and you breathe. You pause and you breathe. Nice. When you're ready to come out, the right foot will go to the left block. The hands will unwind and then you'll uncross the legs. And then again, wiggle that out if needed. All right, cool. Now, before we move on, let's go ahead and bring our hands to our low back, interlace your fingertips, draw your shoulders up towards your ears, shoulder blades together on the back, and then you'll reach your hands as one hand down, heart lifts up, broadening across the chest. Nice. Okay. Let's go ahead and release that. Inhale, circle, sweep your arms up and overhead. Exhale, cactus the arms, hinge at the hips, come forward, forward fold. Nice. Hands on blocks, inhale, halfway lift. This time as you exhale, you'll bend your knees and we're gonna step our right leg long and back. Cool. Spin your right foot to the floor for Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. So it goes to the right just a smidge. And then again, push into your right foot, push into your left foot. You might walk your hands up to the center of your left thigh or come straight up. Great. Release your hands out and up and overhead for Virabhadrasana 1. And you just take a moment to pause and you take a moment to breathe here, really rooting down through the feet, finding that elongation through the spine, extension through the arms. On your next exhale, open the arms out and then bring your hands to your low back. Draw your shoulders up towards your ears, your shoulder blades together on the back, and then reach that one fist back, broaden across the collarbones, gaze lifts up. Awesome. When you're ready, scoop your belly, start to draw your forehead down towards the floor. So maybe it comes towards your left thigh, maybe it comes towards your left knee, maybe it reaches towards your left ankle. Doesn't matter where it goes, it matters that you've got firmness and stability in your legs, ease in the spine, and fullness in the breath. Nice. When you're ready to come up, root down through the feet, reach back through the arms, come back up. Nice work, guys. Bring your hands to your hips, straighten your front leg long. Great. Reach up through your right arm, and then as you inhale, pull your left hip back, reach your right hand forward, and bring the right hand to the floor or the block underneath your right shoulder. Great. From here, push down into your left big toe, press down onto your right pinky toe, lift your spine parallel-ish to the floor, and then start to scoop your belly on the left side, push down into your right hand, and roll your rib cage to the left. And you might stay here. You might want to reach up through your left arm, but you pause and you breathe. You isometrically pull the right hand back as you reach the heart forward. Again, the shoulder blades are supporting the opening of the chest and the heart. Great. When you're ready, inhale, gaze comes back to the floor. Lower the right hand to the floor. Listen closely. You're going to bend your front knee. That's your left knee. You might need to turn your blocks up a tick. And then you'll slide your blocks forward about, 6 inches. Shift your weight forward and float your right leg parallel to the floor. Turn your toes of the right foot down towards the floor. Lift your spine parallel to the floor. And if you need to, bend your left knee just a little bit so you can really root down into the left foot to find your variation of Warrior 3. Nice. On your next exhale, bend the right knee, step the right foot next to the left foot, and then just take a moment to hang over your legs and feel how that feels. Nice. Okay, let's go ahead and try that on the other side. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. As you exhale, bend your knees. This time, step your left foot long and back for Virba 1. Okay. Then again, root down into your back foot, root down into your front foot. Maybe you walk your hands to the center of the right thigh. Maybe you come straight up for Warrior 1. When you're vertical, the arms might reach out and up and overhead. And you just take a few breaths to pause here and breathe. Really rooting into the back foot, dialing the outer left hip forward as you externally rotate the left thigh. Nice. On your next in-breath, we'll open the arms out and exhale, bring the hands to your low back. Take the awkward opposite interlace. Draw your shoulders up towards your ears, your shoulder blades together on the back. Reach both hands as one hand back and heart lifts up. And on your next exhale, start to scoop your belly and allow your head to come forward. So maybe your head comes to the inner right thigh. Maybe it comes to the inner right knee. Maybe it reaches down towards your right ankle. Wherever you are, you're pushing down through the feet. You're reaching out through the hands. When you're ready to come out of this, again, you root through your feet. You bring the spine up to vertical as you reach back through the hands. Nice. You take a moment to find your head on top of your spine and then bring your hands to your hips. From here, straighten your front leg long and then inhale, reach up through your left arm. As you exhale, really pull your right hip back as you reach forward through your left arm, bringing your left hand forward and down to the block or the floor underneath your left shoulder. Awesome. Now again, we'll push down into our right big toe. We'll press down into our left pinky toe. We'll inhale and lift our spine parallel-ish to the floor. Now isometrically here, pull back with your left hand as you start to scoop your right belly and roll your rib cage towards the right. From here, you might continue to draw the shoulder blades onto the back and extend your right arm up towards the sky. And you'll just take a moment to pause and you'll take a moment to breathe. Nice work, ladies. As you're ready, inhale, lower the right hand to the floor. Go ahead and bend the front knee. You might bring your blocks up a tick. You'll slide or walk your blocks forward about 6 inches. Shift your weight forward. Float your left leg parallel-ish to the floor. And then see if you can lift your spine so your spine and your leg are in one line. Scoop your low belly, which may need you to bend your right knee just a little bit. Lengthen out through the crown. Reach back through the tailbone. On your next exhale, bend the left knee. Step the left foot next to the right and fold forward at the top of your space. And then just take a moment to pause there and breathe. Cool. All right. Inhale, halfway lift. As you exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, and step yourself back to a downward facing dog. So here is our first one. Let's go ahead and inhale, roll the spine forward into plank. Surprisingly, we haven't done this yet. So when you inhale, you'll reach your heart forward. As you exhale, reach the elbows back, bending the elbows, lowering all the way down through chaturanga. Now, when you get down to the mat, extend the tops of the feet to the floor. Press your toenails down, specifically pinky toes and big toes. Pull your heart forward and see if you can pull your heart forward and through to your cobra, or you might even find your upward dog. But just notice how much back bend you surprisingly have, considering we haven't done that much. Awesome. And then you'll exhale and lower all the way down. Let's go ahead and stack our hands right on top of each other underneath our forehead. And then bend both of your knees. So we're going to do this twice, but we'll try this version first and see how this goes. So with your knees bent, You're just gonna let your legs windshield wiper one way and then windshield wiper the other. And what I want you to particularly pay attention to is the sensation you feel across the fronts of your thighs. Notice what you feel happening in your low back. Notice what you feel happening on your side body around your obliques. Okay. After you've gone to both sides an equal number of times, let's go ahead and come to stillness and center. Now, check in with your spine. If that felt sufficient for you, please do that again. Otherwise, you're going to come up to Sphinx. So you'll keep your knees as they are, but bring your forearms to the floor, elbows underneath your shoulders. And so this can be a little bit more intense, but you're going to essentially do the same thing. So take about 5 to 10 of these, and you're just paying attention to what it feels like. I noticed that on one side, I have a lot more rotation than I do on the other. I notice that I feel a rolling over the fronts of my quadriceps in a way that sometimes feels kind of fun, and other times I'm like, wow, that's really naughty in there. So you just pay attention to what's happening for you. Okay. And then when we've gone both ways equal number of times, let's go ahead and come to stillness. Bring your legs back to a neutral position, extend your legs long, and then lower all the way back down. Plant your hands alongside your ribs, press up to hands and knees, and just take a set of cats and cows. And just notice what that feels like now, how the spine is working. Okay. And then once you are complete, let's go ahead and come to neutral. And then you're going to lie back down onto your bellies and flip over onto your backs. And when you find yourself on your backs, let's go ahead and bend our knees this time and just take a moment to rest. So ideally, our thigh bones are rooting straight into the hips. And you just notice if you can find all the natural curves of your spine. That cervical spine lifting up and away from the floor, the thoracic spine rooting down, the lumbar spine lifting away from the floor, the sacrum rooting down. Cool. From here, let's go ahead and cross our right ankle over the top of our left thigh. Actively flex through that right foot, pressing the right ankle into the left thigh, and then draw your thighs towards your chest. You might interlace your hands through the whole of your legs to grab either the back of your left thigh or the front of your left shin, whatever feels best on your left knee for today. And you just pause and you breathe. You press the right ankle into the left thigh. The left thigh draws closer to your face. You notice if there's any tightening or tension around your shoulders, any gripping in the mouth. Nice work. And you got 2 more breath cycles here. How is the sensation in your outer right hip going for you? At the end of this next exhalation, release the hands, draw the left foot to the floor, draw the right foot next to the left. Just take a moment to notice the sides, the right side and the left side. And then when you're ready, we'll try that on the other side. So your left ankle crosses over the top of your right thigh, actively flex through that foot. Then draw the legs towards your face, hands interlace through the hole. Maybe you grab the back of the right thigh or the front of the right shin. Your feet are active, really pressing left ankle, outer ankle into right thigh, drawing knees closer. And you just pause and you breathe. And you just pause and you breathe and notice what's happening in your shoulders. And you allow them to soften into the floor, into the mat. Do you notice if there's any unnecessary tension around the tummy or the mouth? You've got 2 more breath cycles here on your own, just breathing, feeling the opening in the outer left hip. Okay. And then gently we'll release the hands. We'll release the right foot, release the left foot. Take another set of those. So keep your feet planted, but inhale, open your knees as wide as they'll go. And then exhale, coming back to center. So soles of the feet stay on the mat. And you just open and close the legs a few times. Cool. Let's go ahead and come to stillness, come to center. Okay. Find your neutral spine in your pelvis. Draw your right knee into your chest. Awesome. Draw your left knee into your chest. Awesome. Draw your inner thighs together. Flex through your feet. Bring your hands onto the tops of your thighs so your fingertips point up towards your knees. Now lift your shins parallel to the floor. Haha. Now you're going to kick into your thighs as you push your hands into your knees. So your knees push forward to your face, but your hands push away. And then you're going to check in with your low back. Sorry, Julie. You're going to check in with your low back and make sure that you still have almost like there's a volcano, maybe not a volcano, tornado, some type of circular action coming into your belly. So you've still got space in your low back and the floor, but your navel is drawing straight down. Yeah, kind of like a tornado. That works. And then you push your hands and your knees and your knees and your hands. And this is not so sneaky core work. And you breathe for 3, for 2, for 1. Fantastic. And then you're gently going to release that and draw the feet back to the floor. And you'll take a moment to pause. And can I get a thumbs up if we felt that in our core, or if those instructions did not make sense? Great. We got thumbs up. Fantastic. Okay, we're going to do that again. So this time, draw your left knee into your chest. And then draw your right knee into your chest. And then flex through your feet like little Barbie dolls and hug your knees and ankles and shins together. And then lift your shins parallel to the floor. Bring your hands onto the tops of your thighs. Fingertips push up. And then again, you're going to push your thighs away from you as you kick your knees into you. And then check in with your low back. There should be a little bit of space between your low back and the floor, depending upon how much cushion we got behind. And then a little bit of a tornado in the belly. So the navel is drawing into the spine is drawing slightly away from the floor, the knees are drawing to the chest, the hands are pushing them away. And oh, I forgot, are you breathing? For 3, for 2, for 1, gently release. Yep. Fantastic. And then we'll just leave it at 2 for today. Let's draw the soles of our feet together and let our knees open wide for Supta Baddha Konasana. And we'll just breathe here for about 5 to 10 breath cycles unsupported. But what I want you to pay attention to is, how does the weight in the back of your pelvis feel? Do you feel like one hip bone feels a little heavier? One sit bone feel a little heavier? Do you feel that there is more stretch occurring on one inner thigh more than the other? Do you notice what's happening up the spine? Is there an equal sense of sensation along both sets of erectors? So the erector muscles run up along the right and the left side of the vertebral column. Do you notice that both of them have the same sense of sensation? Do you notice if there's a similar set of weight in your shoulders? Is your head straight up to the sky, or is it slightly to the right or slightly to the left? But just pay attention to all these little things. And then again, I forgot, are you breathing? The end of this next exhalation, bring your hands to the outer edges of your thighs, close your knees together like a book, and then separate your feet so they're hip distance apart. Go ahead and open your arms out into a T shape. And then we're going to push through our feet, lift our hips up and move our hips to the right and put your butt back down. And then whatever supine twist you want with your legs falling to the left. So you might stack the legs right on top of each other. You might take eagle legs. You might take one leg in. So maybe your right knee is bent and your left leg is long. Maybe you take that one where you have the ankle, the bottom ankle on top. Whatever you're doing, you're pausing and you're breathing. And maybe you inchworm your left shoulder to the left a little bit more. Yeah, so you can get more rotation towards the right and the chest. And then you just pause and you breathe. I've been thinking a lot lately about how often I find myself kind of doing things that I don't necessarily know if I would like to be doing, but yet sometimes it doesn't feel like I have the agency or the power or the opportunity to say no. And I heard something this week by Glennon Doyle. She has a podcast. It's called We Can Do Hard Things. And they were talking about their definition of vulnerability, which I really enjoyed. Take one more breath cycle here. And then when you're ready, you'll inhale and come back up through center. And then we'll go ahead and switch to the other side. Before you do, though, just notice what it feels like to be neutral, because sometimes you don't feel the twist until you come out of it. And then once you've registered that, you'll push the feet, lift the hips over to the left, put the bum back down, and then whatever supine twist you want with the legs falling to the right. In any case, what I thought was lovely about their definition of vulnerability is they were talking about how one of the sisters, which I related to a lot, this sister goes away, comes up with a game plan, and then comes back. Like her definition of vulnerability is I'm going to beat it over the head with a stick, figure it all out, and come back with a solution. The other sister seemed to react by coming in already having done all that instantaneously, so one of them needs time and the other one doesn't. But through the discussion, what became apparent was that vulnerability for them was the ability to just show up, to trust that no matter what happens, you can have the conversation, that no matter what happens, you can be yourself. You can say yes, you can say no, you can say maybe, I don't know, and it be okay, that you not have to have figured everything out prior to engagement. And so as we're here for these last few breaths, I invite you to just explore what the body is doing. You don't have to prepare anything. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to come in guns a-blazing, as Glennon called it. You can just be you. On your next in-breath, gently come out, come back through center. And in this final shape, let's go ahead and separate our feet hip distance apart. Allow your knees to fall in towards each other for constructive rest, and wrap your arms around your body, giving yourself a torso, or giving your torso a hug. I want you to set an invitation to yourself. What does it feel like to really tap in, tune in, listen to what it is that you're needing, and unapologetically just be present with that, explore that, do that without having to have a plan premeditated, without feeling like you have to show up in any particular way. And when you feel like you've tapped into that sense of intuition, that sense of knowing, that sense of curiosity, I invite you to do whatever final shape or shapes might feel interesting to you. You might stay here. You might be like, I'm ready for Shavasana. You might need something else, but the invitation is to give ourselves the opportunity to practice being their definition of vulnerable, to show up just as we are, and trusting that we can not only handle it, but the relationship is strong enough to support us doing that. So, I mean, really, honestly, I think that that's the biggest thing. I started thinking about this issue because, my niece is 5 years old, and she's currently in the phase of, I'll say, creatively talking about things. My brother will watch her do something and he'll ask her if she did it, and her immediate answer is no. She doesn't want to get in trouble, so she says no. And I find it interesting. I don't think that she feels that she can say yes, that she did something, because she's afraid of getting in trouble. And I think that I relate to that. And I think a lot of us have learned that in many ways that, we can't just say what our truth is. We have to somehow hide it. So, yeah, that was a little tangential aside. So, wherever you are, let's go ahead and start to find our way to our final shape. So, if you're still in movement, by all means, you keep exploring your body. If you've already started to make your way to your final resting pose, that's awesome too. My invitation, though, is when you do find yourself in your final shape, if your space is cold, by all means, please cover the body, wrap the body, support the body in any way that feels nurturing to you. And then when you feel, it looks very playful, Barbara. And then when you feel set, I want you to still figure out if you need to fidget a little bit so that your right side and your left side feel equally supported for you. And then you'll take 3 big breaths. So a big breath in through the nose and an audible exhale out. And every inhale, again, you allow space to enter the body, opportunity to enter the body, connection to enter the body. And every exhale, you let go of that which you no longer need, that which may prevent all of you from showing up, that which may prevent all of you from being seen as the lovely individual that you inherently are. And then after your third exhalation, just allow your breath to fall into its natural, involuntary rhythm. Allow your gaze or mental energy to stay connected with the exhales, allowing every exhale to soften a little bit more, allowing every exhale to trust a little bit more. And I'll leave you here with you for a few minutes, and I'll let you know when it's time to come out. Return your awareness to your breath. As you come back to your breath, just take a moment to check in. Notice if there's any part of you that longs to linger in this shape. If so, stay here as long as you'd like. When you're ready, you'll allow a gentle movement to start to enter into your physical form in whatever way feels good to you. Again, those in stillness, stay as long as you'd like. Those in movement, start to make your way to one of your sides. Once you're on your side, you'll just take a couple breaths there. And then when you're ready, you'll slowly roll your chest towards the floor, press into your top hand, and bring yourself up to a tall and vertical seat. When you are vertical, I do encourage you to sit on something, whether it's a block or a blanket. You might remove any flesh from underneath your sit bones to sit tall. And then either keep the gaze inward or the eyes softly resting on the floor. Notice what it feels like to root down through your pelvis and reach up through every vertebra of the spine. Broaden across the chest. Soften the skin at the back of your neck. Release any tension around your jaw and soften the muscles of your face. We'll go ahead and complete our practice by drawing one hand to your heart and the other hand to your belly. And just take a few breaths here. I like this idea that vulnerability isn't necessarily just our most hurt parts, but also our scared parts, our joyful parts, our weird and quirky parts. And that in order to experience that type of vulnerability, we have to be able to trust that no matter what happens in any situation, we can show up fully and that that'll be okay. And so as you breathe into the hand and breathe into the gut, I'd like you to do two things. Thing number one, send some love or energy to yourself, to those parts of you that sometimes worry about how you show up. And then thing number two, send some love to those that you love and care for, those that you see struggle with this from time to time. Send them some love and support. We'll go ahead and complete our practice with a collective breath, followed by a collective Om. Guide your hands to heart center Anjali Mudra. Really press the palms into each other. Receive the weight of your thumbs into your heart and then lift your sternum to your thumbs. Allow your chin to drop just a smidge and exhale all the breath from your mouth. Take a big breath in. Big breath out. Inhale for Om. Join if you'd like. Om. Draw your thumbs to your third eye. May our thoughts be clear. Draw your thumbs to your lips. May our words be kind. And draw your thumbs to your heart center. May our hearts be open. the light, the breath, the, I don't know, quirkiness within me honors and salutes the light, the breath, and the quirkiness within each of you. Namaste.